welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Boy, oh boy, the NFL they just keep giving us more and more, man. After an absolutely incredible first weekend of NFL action was getting wrapped up with Monday Night Football, the New York Jets, New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills, AFC East Division Showdown. Man, the worst possible thing could have happened. But before we get to that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell so you can be made aware anytime new content comes out on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, go ahead, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you enjoy the content, please make sure you give us that 5-star review. Leave a comment too. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Now let's get right to it. So, man, you know, the NFL is the most popular sport in the United States, right? Closely followed by college football, but football on the whole. And I think a big reason for that is because of the next man up mentality, the absolute monster level of competition, and the way the league, because of injuries that can completely derail a season for a player and for a team, always tends to have so much parity, right? And only for the most part, the absolute worst run organizations are not in a position to try and have some success. Maybe not Super Bowl level success, but playoff level success, right? We talk about it. Of the major sports league, the NFL leads every year in worst to first and first to worst in terms of divisional rankings. And so this is one of the things that we love so much about football. And last night, we saw it rear its ugly head at maybe the worst possible time and in the worst possible situation, at least for the team in question. So what are we talking about? We're talking about brand new New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, 1-time Super Bowl champion with the Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers, who appeared to have a new lease on life after arriving in New York from 15 years in Green Bay. He appeared to have had a new lease on life. He was, just a totally different mentality-wise from the, I guess, sometimes surly, snarky type of guy that we saw often in Green Bay. Looked like he was really enjoying life in New York, and the opportunity to start fresh, start anew, as they say, and have an opportunity on a team with a loaded defense and some good offensive skill players to possibly win a championship, or at the very least make a deep playoff run, right? And 4 plays into the game for the Jets, 4 offensive plays in. I mean, it's still unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers, he gets rushed, he gets sacked, he goes down, and he stands back up, and then he sits back down. And he didn't return for the rest of the game. He went to the tent, got an X-ray. The X-ray showed up negative, but they put him in a walking boot. Again, he didn't return for the rest of the game. Zach Wilson, former number 2 overall pick Zach Wilson, and his backup came into the game. And coincidentally, the Jets did win. So that was, what do you call it? Silver lining on the cloud. It was a silver lining. But MRIs this morning from New York confirmed the worst. Aaron Rodgers is going to be out for the year with a torn Achilles. And I got to tell you, that is, if you're a Jets fan, which I'm not, but even still, if you're a Jets fan, if you're a football fan, you kind of missed out on an opportunity to see what could have been an absolutely amazing story in New York City this year. You don't have to be a New York person. You don't have to be a Jets fan, but a football fan. Just watching one of the greatest quarterbacks who ever played come to a new situation, new coaches for the most part. He's got his old offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, with him in New York. But, new teammates for the most part again, new coaches, new system, new digs. Just, it was going to be awesome. And in one of the most competitive divisions in the league, you have Buffalo Bills, which for a few years people have thought was a legitimate Super Bowl contender, obviously with their quarterback Josh Allen, who most people have thought for the last few years was a legitimate MVP contender. Of course, you have the Miami Dolphins, who are making a lot of noise with their offensive fireworks down there in South Beach. You have the multiple-time champion New England Patriots. So a lot going on. This division was going to be really competitive. Obviously, we know the AFC is the class of the 2 conferences in terms of elite teams and elite quarterback play, which we know quarterback play drives the sport. But yeah, it almost feels like we got robbed of seeing something that could have been incredible. And now, if you're the Jets, if you're Robert Saleh, and we saw Robert Saleh's face when that happened, I mean, Yeah, that was tough. We saw him in the post game. We saw him immediately following Aaron Rodgers going down, and you could just tell he kind of knew. And yeah, but we look at this and now we wonder what's up next for the Jets, right? Obviously, Zach Wilson stepped in and he did the best that he could do in that position. And you saw that there was some improvement from last year, both in his demeanor and his play. Obviously, he had the one ugly pick where he kind of stared down his receiver right over the middle and then threw it to Matt Milano, who I believe is an all-pro linebacker in this league. Very, very good player. But yeah, he threw it right to him. But after that, for the most part, he did a good job leading the team, not making mistakes, and the Jets won in overtime. So definitely you could tell that the team, especially that defense, fought back for their coach, fought back for their teammates, for each other. Quick note, that defense they are something. They're going to be elite. Obviously, they got first team all-pro cornerback Ahmad Sauce Gardner. And you see all-pro defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, and this is one of the best defenses in the league last year, and it looks like they picked right up. They had 5 sacks last night, and I believe 3 interceptions. Just an outstanding team effort overall, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do. Now, clearly, they're probably going to have to go somewhere and try to find a quarterback, whether it's someone to back up Zach Wilson or an experienced veteran to come in and be the starter if they don't think Zach Wilson is ready yet. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. This is this is going to be something to see. And you got to wonder, like, where is Aaron Rodgers' mindset today? Obviously, the guy's an all-time great. You would think, being an all-time great, that he would be a competitor and that he's going to want to say, okay, hey, I'm 39, but I'm not going out like this. I'm going to go out on my own terms. I'm going to rehab hard. I'm going to come back, and hopefully next season I'll be in a position to do what I came to New York to do, and that's hopefully lead the Jets to the Super Bowl. But who knows if that's going to be the case? Maybe he ends up feeling like, I've just had enough, and maybe this injury was a signal telling me that it's time and there's nothing left for me to do. Who knows? But it's just, man, it's just this game of football. It can turn in a second with a major injury. And then again, to see a major injury to a quarterback, and especially a quarterback of that level, not only does it rob that team, like I mentioned, it robs us as the fans, it robs us as the media of great storylines. It robs, the game of another elite level competitor to add to the competition. It's just absolutely nuts. Like, I seriously can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, when I saw it, I was shocked. I really couldn't believe it. And so if you remember, if you've been with me for a while, the former NFL scout who coincidentally scouted for the Jets when he was in the league, Daniel Kelly, has been on the show a couple of times, and we'll have him on pretty soon here. And he talked about one of the things that he thought was going to be problematic for the Jets was the fact that they did not do enough to shore up that O-line. And he didn't feel like Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately, was going to be able to make it through the season because the O-line wasn't good enough. And voila, it happened just like that. I had to text him this morning and say, man, you must be a prophet, and obviously he wasn't happy that he was right about this because, again, it's a blow to the game, a game we all love. And just seeing that is it's really tough. And hopefully you're going to see more teams really make a concerted effort to say, wow, we got to make sure these O-lines are shored up, especially if we have elite quarterback play. We can't let these guys, get knocked around like that, or we can't let getting hit is part of the game, but we can't let these guys, if we have good to elite quarterback play, take any more pressure or hits than they need to, right? Don't get me wrong. Sometimes people are going to miss a block, or you're going to have an elite pass rusher who's going to get past the O-lineman. It's just what it is. It's part of the game. But these franchises got to do everything they can do to shore up the O-line. And again, man, this is just so tough because we all, if you're a football fan, we're looking so forward to seeing what the Jets were going to do throughout the course of the year, how that AFC East was going to shake out, how the AFC itself was going to shake out, and how that would end up, pointing towards the Super Bowl and who wins that one. So I think it's fair to say at this point that the Jets are no longer Super Bowl contenders unless they pull a miracle and, find somebody. Tom Brady, anybody? But no, that's probably very unlikely. And how crazy would that be if Brady came out of retirement, went to the Jets, and won a Super Bowl? Wow. That, you want to talk about storylines? That would be an even bigger storyline than Aaron Rodgers winning one with the Jets. But um, again, highly unlikely. I don't really see that happening, but that would be crazy, and it would be awesome to see as a fan, number one, and as a sports media member, number two. But yeah, yeah. So what a way to wrap up week one of the NFL season. And what I want to know from you is, what chances do you think the Jets have to make a run, become a playoff team, or do something, or even have a good season? And number two, do you think that they're going to go and trade for or find a quarterback that can start over Zach Wilson? Leave your comments in the comment section. Can't wait to hear from you. I'll be back with you next episode, and I'm out. Peace.